Welcome, everyone, to tonight's Building Depth Circles call. I'm Sarah Smith coming in from Liberty, Utah. And for those of you that are brand new to this call, you are in for a treat. Part of this Zoom tonight, you guys, I'm sure you can feel the energy from Las Vegas, Momentum Academy. Drop an emoji in the chat if you were there and you are having breakthroughs, you experienced a breakthrough. You guys, it was one of the most powerful events. I've been going to every single event for 14 years. My husband and I, we said yes 14 years ago. And we were turned on to the ABC investigative news report. That nurse practitioner did not know we were praying for a way to rebuild our financial picture. My husband was out of work, bedridden for, months at a time. You guys, it was one of the darkest times, but when that happens, it's usually when the brightest gifts are being dropped in your lap. And that's what happened to us when we said yes. First company in network marketing, 14 years later. I'm absolutely humbled, grateful for the gift of this business because it has allowed me to step into, really becoming the best version of myself, to be able to make an impact around the world, to be able to help as many people as absolutely possible. And, the events are the things that just, really bring us to that next level. And then actually people like yourselves, it's like you guys are beautiful people. We have the most amazing tribe in this company. And again, just an honor to be here. 14 years ago, we plugged into what is now called the Building Depth System. But tonight, you guys, you're going to hear this, you're gonna see the breakdown of like what we mean by like the circles call. The circles are leaders, and we're going to hear from Dave Madison tonight. You guys, he and his wife Joanne are absolute pillars in this LifeVantage community, and have had massive success, and are like, I just have learned so much from them, from us being in. They were here from the very beginning. So you're gonna hear the breakdown of an executive's, leadership, like how they did it, how those skills came together. You're also going to hear from, she is a dear friend, soul sister. Her name's Candy Kreslak. We all know her, and it's her name is like synonymous with like the biggest heart on the planet. And she has this business for her. She's moved from her head to her heart. And you guys, it's like she is like that cup of tea at night, with your favorite book, right? Like she just speaks in that way. And she's going to share with us a little bit about the system that people are plugging into. And you are in for a treat. So, 14 years later, learning these skills of how to build in depth, how to create those relationships, and really create a stable, long-term, generational wealth-making machine is really what we're creating here. And like I said, I am so grateful for this community, for our executives, but also our presidentials, Marcel and Blue, who have really stood right next to this program and these calls and really mentored us. We would not be here if it were not for them. So thank you, Blue and Marcel, if you're on, and all the executives that are on here tonight. Just really appreciate your wisdom. So with that, I'm going to turn this right over to Candy Kreslak. And I am super excited to hear from her. I think she's in Montana, but nurse practitioner, heart of gold, exceptional leader, and just super excited to hand this over to you, Miss Candy Kreslak.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. You are incredible. Oh my gosh, it is so amazing to see all of you tonight. I can only see, I'm on my phone in my car, as you can see. So I can't see everybody, but the screen that I can see, welcome everybody and thank you for being here. So like Sarah said, my name's Candy Kreslak. I have been a part of LifeVantage now for about 6.5 years. And 6.5 years ago, my life didn't look the same. My life is totally different before LifeVantage. Like LifeVantage has changed everything for me. Is there anybody else on this call that feels that way? Because I can't even imagine my life without it. But 6.5 years ago, I was working as a nurse, and I was working a lot of hours. I didn't have any time with my family. I didn't feel good. I felt like I was in the wrong system as a nurse, that I wasn't helping people in the right way. And when this information was shared with me, and I watched that ABC News report, how many people on this call have watched that ABC News report? I mean, that blew me away. And I watched that ABC News report and I thought, if this is real, this is going to change the world. Was there anybody else who was like, this is going to revolutionize the way that we're doing healthcare? Like, every living, breathing person on this planet deserves to hear about this information. And we have a moral obligation to share it with them. Whatever they decide is up to them. We can't be connected to the results, but we have an obligation to share it with them. And I took a leap of faith. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have an experience in network marketing. I didn't even know that you could make money in this industry, honestly. I just saw a different way to help people. And I thought, if this is true, if Protandem NRF2 is real and this is true, then I can definitely share this with people. And maybe I can make another stream of income to get time back in my life with my family and my 4 kids and now my grandbaby. Yes, I had my first grandbaby, and he's the most amazing thing on the planet. And so I said yes, you guys. This has changed everything for us. This gave me my life back. This gave me my health back. This gave me time back in my life. I walked away from my job as a nurse. This gave me the most amazing community of people, and I am so grateful that Robin Summer Smolik plugged me into this system of building depth and these leaders. It's like I've been able to stand on the shoulders of giants this entire time and know that you have a space to learn and a space to grow. And you have a very simple system that you can follow that will get you to where you want to be. And I thought, oh my gosh, like, it seemed too simple. So tonight I'm going to share with you guys, what does it look like? What are we talking about when we're talking about the building depth system? And thank you so much, Marcel and Blue, for this system and this platform of and being able to plug people into it and making it so simple and duplicatable that the same message is being shared and nobody feels like they're slinging mud at the wall, right? And so the simple system, you can earn as you learn, but you want to, when you're doing the system, you're going to be focusing on the behaviors and not the results. So, what is the system? The first principle is 15 or more presentations a month. So I will tell you guys, I have been involved for 6.5 years, and there hasn't been 1 month that I've only done 15 presentations a month. So if you're looking, everybody has different goals. Maybe you don't want to be an executive within this company, but if you want to be an executive within LifeVantage, you're going to be doing more than 15 presentations a month. But 15 is just that guideline to keep yourself accountable to sharing with 15 new people a month. What is a presentation? It's your story, the company's story, and how you get paid. And so that's the first principle. The second one is attend all events. Okay, who was in Vegas this weekend? Was that not incredible? Were they not standing up there on that stage teaching the principles and behaviors of building depth and this simple system to follow? I was like, oh my gosh, this was like gold. This information that you guys, attending events is where it's where the light bulb moments happen. It's where belief is built. It's where you can watch your team be like, oh my gosh, like, have you ever experienced where you're trying to help somebody on your team and you're telling them, they're asking you questions and you're answering their questions, and you feel like you've told them the same thing 10 times. And then they go to an event and they see Robin Summer Smolik on the stage and they're like, why haven't you ever told me that? Because people hear differently. One, they have to be ready to hear it. And two, maybe they need to hear it from somebody else. And so it's like getting your PhD in network marketing. You guys, we have to do that. But going to events is not necessarily an income producing behavior, right? Those income producing behaviors are the skill sets, right? Of the inviting, the presenting, the follow-ups and the close. So the next one that we're going to talk about is always do what you say you're going to do. Be a person of your word. That's the third one. Do you guys feel like that no matter what you're doing in life, that you need to be a person of your word? If you tell somebody you're going to do something, you need to show up. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I got involved in LifeVantage 6.5 years ago, that was the thing that surprised me the most that I wasn't expecting was I came from a professional background where as a nurse, if you say you're going to show up for a patient, you have to show up. Sometimes that's a life or a death situation. Like you don't just not show up when you're taking care of people. And so when I became a part of this, there was a lot of people that were telling me that they were going to do things, but they weren't doing them. That hurt my heart. Like it was really hard for me when people would tell me that they were going to do something and didn't show up. But I started recognizing in myself, and I want to be fully transparent with you guys, is I feel like I've always been a person of my word for other people. Have I forgot things at times? Absolutely. But never intentionally not showing up. But the one part of that principle that I was missing was being a person of your word to yourself. If you commit to yourself that you're going to follow the principles and behaviors of building depth and that you're going to do 15 or more presentations a month and you're going to attend the events and you're going to do all of these things, but you're not doing them, that's part of that as well. The next one is staying in control of your business. So that's number 4. Staying in control of your business, you guys, is really, to me, it's about relationships and it's about creating those relationships down in depth. And it's about staying in control of your emotions. And it's about, we can only control what we do, but we can't control what other people do, right? There's so many pieces that are a part of staying in control of your business. And then promote. Do you guys think promoting is important? Like, if you think promoting is important, promoting is one of the most important things that you can do because you need to get your teams to the events. You need to get your teams to hear from other leaders where those light bulb moments are going to happen, where the belief is going to be built. You need to get your leaders on these Zoom calls. You guys, did you send out this Zoom call to your team? Did you promote it? How many people on your team are on this call? Because I know that there's executives that keep track of how many people on their teams are showing up for these calls. And don't send it out to your team if you're not willing to get on. Because as a leader, you need to lead by example. And if you're asking your team to get on the call, then you need to show up to the call as well. You guys, systems don't fail. People fail systems. And the system that is here is so simple. And truly, we overcomplicate it. We get in our heads, we get in our own ways, and we make it about us. But the second we can get out of our head and into our heart space and really know that if we just follow that system, give people choices and options, let them make their own decision, like, this is the most amazing thing you could be a part of. You guys, I get to wake up every single day and I get to roll out of bed and say, who do I get to bless today? Who do I get to serve today? That is the most amazing life ever. So now you guys are in for a huge treat tonight. So get your notebooks ready, you guys. What I want you to do is really pay attention to the stories that Dave is going to share with you through his circles presentation, because you are going to get so many nuggets out of the stories if you're really paying attention. So get your notebooks out. But Dave and Joanne Madison from Monument, Colorado, I actually got to go spend some time with them. I think it was in December. We did a meeting at their house and just learned a little bit more about them, being involved since the very beginning. And they are incredible, their leadership. And I thank you so much, Dave and Joe, for everything that you do for everybody, as well as all of the other executive leaders. Go ahead and take it over.
Thank you, Candy. You are so sweet. I am so, so happy to be in the same link line with you, my dear. You are an absolute inspiration to so many of us, including ourselves. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, welcome everyone. I am alone today. I am in Tennessee, and Joe is in Colorado. We're thrilled to see not only your smiling faces, but all of your enthusiasm. We are recovering from this past weekend. And I don't know about you, but it's all good. It's all really, really good. When we can ramp up as high as we can get, and then you throw in the sensory overload of a Las Vegas into the equation, man, I don't know. There was a day when I could handle it. It's getting harder and harder because I just want to have too much fun too long. So we went early and stayed late. I don't know what else you can say, but it was worth every bit of it. What we saw when we came out of it was really incredible, and it was incredible in many aspects. But I think one of the greatest attributes of our executive team and the executives within the corporation is they all do a pretty good job listening. And over a period of time, there has been a lot of shift in our industry that has brought up new hiccups, as I call it. And at times, they're at a point where it's uncontrollable to you and I, because we can't control so many offenses. But in this circumstance, we have driven forward in the process rather than seeing the results, like Candy was talking about, that gives us something that's completely different from what we have seen in the past. So what that really means to each and every one of us is that we have to go back to the foundation. If whether we're building a house or building a business or building a life with a partner, etc., you have to go back to some basic elements. So what has happened through our lives, we've witnessed, and some of us based on our age, we have witnessed, seen, and experienced things that came in and left. There was a day when I was one of the first guys to get a pager. I was one of the first guys to get a car phone. And then when my car phone broke, I had to go to the AT&T store and they gave me this brick thing, and I stood on a roof and talked to my boss, kind of scenario. The transgressions of our technology are going to keep spinning into existence. Whether it's Facebook or TikTok, there's something coming past TikTok. Does anybody want to disagree with that, right? As we see these things unfold into our business model, we have to harness them. And if we're looking at things that are going to trick alignments of communication, then we need to halt it. And what has evolved specifically into this thing called building depth, which is nothing more than an action plan. And it just kind of burnt a hole in our brain as far as the name of what we are actually physically doing. And the ideals that Candy just went through are specific to the understanding of the psychology of how we function in all existence, in all of our endeavors, in all of our relationships, in all of our experiences. So recognizing that these are things that are just simple to what we do every day, we have to realize that people take time. They don't necessarily go through high speed everything. Just like this past weekend, we were in sensory overload. And today we're in a different calm, okay? Well, we have to have acceleration and we have to have deceleration. You can't be constant in acceleration. So when we talk about some of these principles, we have to know that we always have that as a foundation. So when we talk about always doing what you say you're going to do, some people don't understand that because they've grown up in an environment that they couldn't trust the person that was giving them that advice. Whether that was a coach, a parent, or a pastor, or the bully down the street, they've lost faith in someone's word. And so why we teach principles like this is really, really simple. Because we often put ourselves in a place where we have to be in a directive of leadership. And if we're in that directive, people are going to expect greatness from us to give them the ability to follow. And in this industry, you have to create the follower. And the follower is someone that is going to aspire to do something themselves, but the on-the-job training aspect is what you're driving into them. So when I talk about building the Circles program, it's simply to talk about that rubric of planning, the planning of how you can get your organization 5 wide and 5 in depth. And then you start to see how it filters itself into a powerhouse of existence. So you're not going to just sponsor your personal 5. You're going to bring their people and their people and there's people into the equation that allows you to develop relationships 2, 3, 4, 5, 55 in depth. There are people on this call right now that are 50 in depth underneath us that we work with almost daily. Okay. So knowing that, how long do you think it took me to find her? It was over 6 years. So if you're thinking that this is something you're going to do for 6 days or 6 weeks, you're missing out on the biggest attribute. Okay. We have personally enrolled somebody that is an EC2 in LifeVantage. One, we have personally enrolled. We've personally enrolled a whole handful of others that haven't quite made the grade that you would understand. Some of them start this business at a 2, 5, or 8. I want them to be at a 7, 8, 9, and 10 to create production, right? So I can't worry about their results because their speed is their walk. It's their run. It's their success line. I can't control that. What I can do is participate in the helping hand of that success. So that's why we talk about developing your circles, which brings to light a visionary of what you see and how it's going to evolve. Because I guarantee you, when I start to show you a couple of these names, you won't know them, but you're going to relate with a couple identities. One, what is their rank today? And two, how long did it take me to find them? Because I never got into this so I could get rich in 3 months or 6 months. It took Joanne and I 2 years to get to the executive level. That's a 6-figure income, and it took 2 years. So if 2 years is too long for you, ask yourself the real hard question when you're looking in the mirror. Whatever you're doing right now, how long is it going to take you to get to 6 figures? Or take your income if you're already making 6 figures, and how long is it going to take you to double it? It's going to take time. The difference that you're going to find with this model is not anything special or great. What it is it's that foundational point that everyone else can adhere to. And in this industry, I'm not interested in how great Dave is. I'm more interested in how great I can make the people in my organization become better at being greater. Because if I don't teach them to do great things for others, I'm starting off on another line. Because that's where it stalls. Okay? So one of the things that you learned this weekend talking or listening to Rob and Summer when they were going through the example of how they actually elevated individuals in their business and the time that it takes to get there, they were always focused on, first and foremost, adhering to that personality. Somehow, some way, find a way to bring a connection. Okay? If you're walking in front of somebody that's a hunter, you want someone like Rob because he's one of the best of ever in that entire industry, right? If you want to talk to somebody about golf, you want to talk to a Skip Campbell or a Tyler Daniels. Don't grab Marcel because he has a foot wedge and he'll take your money every time because every time it goes under a tree, he's got a foot wedge. I say that in jest and joke because I never win any money from him. But when you talk to people that have real skill in an area, you want to attract yourself to that environment. So I'm not saying you got to go out and become a professional golfer to get a skip in the business. No, it's the complete opposite. Relate to him on a strength that you have and then a strength of an accomplishment that he's created with his skill set. So once you have that, you create that area of opportunity for bonding into a relationship of trust. And as soon as you start to develop that trust, now, because you do what you say you're going to do, now you have that opportunity to create depth organizations. Because as I just got off a call an hour and a half ago, I pulled off 3 meetings in that leadership call that I did, 3 meetings with people that were on that call. Because I went into their calendar to find out their it, and now I've brought out 3 meetings out of it. So I'm not interested in surrounding myself with all these super high level professionals that you see on a stage like this past weekend. I'm interested in finding the person that can lead me to those individuals. So when I'm talking about these circles that are developed in my past of our performance, I'm not talking about sponsoring the professional. I'm talking about sponsoring Aunt Betty. I'm talking about sponsoring the young kid that I just made made contact with that's been 4 years at the tire shop that just graduated high school 4 years prior. He's got a 4-year job and he's already an assistant manager. And I'm not sure he's got what it takes to do this. Mind you, I've only been standing across the counter for him for a few minutes. But we exchanged numbers and we're hooking tomorrow night, right? But who does he know? I already know his father is successful because his father gave him some advice that I can tell you he's not just a dad, he's a father of guidance. I want to meet his dad. And as soon as I meet his dad, I want to meet his mom. And as soon as I get to either one of those, I'm going to find out who their coworker is, who their neighbor is, who their brother and sister are. And now I've got a whole nother list to work with, do I not? And it just started because I had to go buy tires, right? So regardless of how we bring people into the elements, the system that is directing right now, this fortress of movement, is something that you and I can tie our people to when I'm not there. When I have to have, if there's a couple thousand people at a conference like we just witnessed, how can you get in front of all 100 people in your business that are on your team and corral them in a function like last weekend? You can't. You want to. You've met a lot of them. It's part of the reason why a lot of your leaders only had 1 or 2 or 5 minutes with you throughout the weekend. And you ran into them when you were snaking through a casino bay. It's because we all have a mission to help the people in our organization. So not only are you elevating people in the education of understanding how to do that right off the bat, you're giving them the fortress that they know when they apply themselves into this system, that they don't have to question when they brought in this new guy that is a tire guy. I know exactly the steps that I'm going to bring him into, and I don't have to make sure that they're in love with Sarah Smith, who everybody falls in love with. They don't have to be the professional business guy like a Rob Smolek. No, they know that they're going to get each and every personality, but they're going to get the same message. And once that happens, you can create that foundation that creates the growth of anything and everything. Okay, so I'm gonna share a little bit here, and I may see where I can get this PowerPoint to pull up that might give you a little quick synopsis of some of the things that are happening and have happened. Here we go. I want you to look at a couple identities right here. Here's a Garrett. Here's a Bill and Hillary, and no, they were not presidents. No, there's a Greg and Patty. That's Greg and Patty Polka, who some of you probably know. They're at EC2 in our organization. It was Patty when we got started, and then she met Greg through the business, and now they're husband and wife. Okay? Here's a line of sponsorship. David is my son, who brought in my father, who passed away, and that position was willed to my wife. That's Joanne's position. Okay? These are all different personals that we have brought to the table. So everyone spins at a different speed. But watch this. Here is Garrett, who was one of the boys I coached as a kid, and now he's a young adult. And as a teacher, got motivated into this by looking for counsel from his coach now that he's married and has young kids. So he went to his old coach, Dave, who happened to be a really good friend. And now we're developing that adult relationship. And he comes in, and before long, he realizes, after he had to ask the question, how come you coached us for all those years and you never had a job? Well, that leads me down the right primrose path, right? Well, quickly, he grabbed his brother-in-law, David, when he had Robin Summer coming to a meeting in Denver back a number of years ago in the barn of Russell and Tracy Blanche, and we had 150 people in the room, and Garrett promised his brother-in-law, David, I'll buy you dinner, because the sisters were out of state going to see Grandma and Grandpa. And so Garrett called brother-in-law, promised him a Chipotle sub or a burrito, and before long, within a month, he said, okay, I'm about ready to graduate. I'm about ready to make a six-figure income. But if I can do a rank advancement every year for 10 years and make what I'm making now and about to sign a contract for, I can make that on a monthly basis and I can do that over 10 years, I'm in. This is a 24-year-old kid who then turns around and grabs a hold of a sister-in-law back in hometown, takes Joanne, flies Joanne into Illinois. Joanne goes into that meeting, and that little boy, David, who has lived away from home for 2 years, comes home and puts 24 people in the house his first night of his business. A 24-year-old put 24 in the house. Half of those people got in that night. The next night, they had 28 people. He had promised them all food. And at 10 o'clock, he went out to the back 40 and was frogging and catching fish to bring in for the next night boil for the 28 people that showed up. There were over 65% of the people got in those 2 days. And it took what? A month for Garrett to find David, and a month for him to find Natalie, and then a month to find an Andy and Lisa. That I came in a month after that, found this couple, and within 2 weeks, they jumped a flight to Salt Lake to go to a convention. And they got to SC1. And it only took us 3 or 4 months in total. Versus, let's go over and look at Patty Polka. Patty Polka, it took 4 people between Patty and Bob and Regina. There's 4 people in this storyline before we found Bob and Regina. I can go through the story of all 3 of those people in between because I was there at those meetings. I was not at the first meeting with Bob and Regina. Patty did that on her own. But it was over 10 months through this organization to find a Bob and Regina who are EC1s. It took another year and a half to go 8 people in depth. And I did every one of those meetings in that whole entire organization of 8 in a year and a half to find a Stacy Kinsey, who was a customer that was told about the product from her grandmother. Because Stacy had some health issues. Jason came in about 2 years later. Never participated. And after he realized that there's some girth to this thing, when they're making $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month kind of mentality, oh, maybe I should look at this a little more. And boom, not only did she create health, he created a trump card to throw in his business. And I immediately put him in my car, and we went on a 4-day road trip to meet up with a whole lot of people in this Garrett organization. And he was at all of those meetings. By the end of the 4th day, the 3rd day, he was on the phone calling his people on our route back home to get them in front of Dave because I was the wizard that was bringing all these people in. No, I was the third party person for the young Garrett gang. And now Jason caught the understanding of how to build depth organizations, which was completely different than what the customer-based Stacy organization that we got. We went from 40,000 to 60,000 to 80,000 to 102,000 in 4 consecutive months with the participation of Jason to get over the top of that elite and executive chart. 4 months. And it took 3 more years for Jason to go 6 in depth to find James and Tracy Hayden. I was not at that meeting with Jason when he found out there was a James Hayden in the mix, but I was the guy that Jason called and said, okay, I know you told me I should never say I got the guy. This guy's going to crank it. He's going to be the man. He's the next presidential. I can tell you where I was on the street and the highway in northern Colorado when I got that call from Jason, who was already an expert. And when Jason says something, it means gold. Because he knows what he's talking about. Within 4 days, I was flying to Macy, Indiana to get in a beat up truck that didn't have floorboards in it to drive down country roads at about 60 miles an hour with a cop with a sidearm. We walked up to houses that he didn't even tell me their name because he couldn't remember the name. I said, "How did you know these people?" "Well, I had to come show up with them once or twice with a pistol on my hip." Not the best way to start a conversation about LifeVantage, but it was his way to start the business. And that guy kept me business until 3:30. How late do cops stay up? Until 3 o'clock in the morning. And it took 2.5 years for James to find Kristen Taylor. And I picked up a car in Indianapolis, or in after the Indianapolis convention. I flew to Boston, picked up a car. I was driving the car to Buffalo, New York, back to Colorado, and James called me and said, "I think I got the gal, and she's in Atlanta." I said, "Put me on the phone with her." And she was the real deal. And I said, "Well, I'm on my way back, so I might as well swing by." And I drove from Buffalo, New York to Atlanta, Georgia to meet up with Kristen Taylor for the first time for her first big meeting, and then drove to Colorado. And she's a sharp gal. But it took her about a year before she could ask me the truth. You had to be lying because driving from Buffalo to Colorado does not go through Atlanta. I went there because I understood what James and Tracy Hyden understood. People are real. And real people that understand these principles and behaviors already are the ones that I'm going to throw my gas on. So I can go through every one of our organizations and talk about the timeline because I was involved with so many of them. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to be truthful and honest. I would much rather meet a new friend that gets introduced to me than for me to meet a new guy at the tire shop like I did yesterday. I would much rather go on the reconnaissance of someone else's already knows her. If Angie already knows her, I would rather meet Angie's friend because she can say, "Dave is a good dude," and now I don't have to go through how great Dave is, dude language. Does that make sense? So I think there's not only a good alignment for everybody to not only be on their best, okay, be on their best game, but when you have a partner with you doing this and going through the process, you tend to gain a whole lot more confidence. Because anything you do and say in that meeting is going to be brought to the table when you have an upline person there that can educate the process, recorrect the circumstance, and develop the relationship with that person that you're sitting across the table from. So you get so many more advantageous alignments that bring comfort to the message and the messenger that's receiving them. And that's why this system we're talking about is so efficient. Because I have looked at this in a 40-year experience in this industry, statistic after statistic. And every time I have looked at it from multiple different companies, multiple different leaderships, multiple different decades, every single time it comes down to if you can build an organization between 5 and 7 in depth, you will find your executive leader. Every time. Now, if I have to go to 10 or 12 or 15, I don't care. There's a reason why this comp plan is at the supreme level in our industry. Because it's not just paying you a match on the people you personally bring in, but it's the ones that you help the most in depth build organizations over 10, 20, 50, 80, $100,000 in volume. That's where you're going to get your biggest juggernaut check. And that's where your greatest security is. So I love building width. We're probably at 90 to 100 in width over 17 and a half years. I didn't do that in a day or a month or a year. Okay? I don't. I do more sifting personally because I realize this. My time is very, very valuable. When I started this industry, I was getting married a month later and I had hair. It's been a while. And I know this. If I'm going to invest my time into people's lives, I'm going to work extra hard to make sure that they succeed. And that's what's created a six-figure income now for 15 and a half years because of the way we structured our activity and our skill sets. So here's your in the nutshell. And I'll turn this back to you, Sarah. In a nutshell, however we gather is wonderful and great and do it all day and every day. What is most important in this equation is knowing how you can imply everybody into a system of this nature that helps them create success so they don't depend on you. There's a reason why my brothers still don't take this product because they're my younger brothers and they think they're smarter. I retired at 43, they retired at 45. I don't know who's smarter. It doesn't matter. Joanne on the other side, everyone in her family is on the product. I can't answer that. It doesn't really matter. But I can tell you, they're all customers. And yes, they do refer people to us. But I haven't devoted that time to that essence because that's what they've decided to do. It's not what I've decided. So here it is. Your nutshell is this. The only way you're going to stay in control of your business is not by becoming the boss to your people on your team, but to empower them to know where to go to get the right answers. And the sooner you do that, the more duplication you're going to get. The replication of your existence happens. Because at some point, there's going to be a day when you can't perform. Ask me how I know. There's a day when you can't be that to everybody. It's not a matter of if, it's when. We've always had insurance. We can't drive a car without insurance. Why? Because there's going to be a bad day. So now's the time to prepare for that. Apply them into a system that outworks you. The best thing you can do is find someone that doesn't like you, that falls in love with somebody else that's in the leadership position. Let them fall in love with them. Best thing that can happen to you. And if it wasn't that, it would have to rely on you. And guess what? Newsflash. Not everyone's going to like you. And that's okay. It's what makes this world really special is we're all different. I'll end with this, Sarah. I don't know how we can expect everyone to love us when a lot of the time we don't even love ourselves. So know that you have a team, an army, a guardianship here that's willing to be that helpmate for you. If it's going to help somebody else move forward, it's going to help you. So why not lock arms and make it happen together? So I wish you all the best. Blessings to you all. Sarah, I'm going to move this back to you. Thanks so much for hosting. Candy, thanks for setting me up
Wow.
there. Appreciate
What
it.
an incredible call. Were you guys blown away at Dave and Joe's circles? I mean, the relationships in depth, the leadership in depth, the time it takes, just the concepts of, width is wealth and depth is stability, all things that we really want to put in play and just appreciate the stories. I know there's so many more. So just want to thank you, Dave. Thank you, Candy. And we have a couple of presidentials on the line tonight, and I get to really turn this over to. He's been our mentor kind of from the start. His career in the industry is absolutely priceless. Like the level of training, the level of experience, bringing in over $30 million into his organizations, into LifeVantage. And I tell you what, Marcel Niederhauser has just been a true gift, and his steadfast stick with the system has really just been exactly what we've needed to jump into this industry with no experience and find success. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to you, Marcel Niederhauser, to wrap up this call for us tonight.
Sarah, thank you so much. How's everybody doing? It just seems like we just saw most of you in Las Vegas, didn't it? So it's good to see you, Dave. I loved everything that you just said. And I'm just going to add one thing to that. What I've always done, if somebody doesn't love me, I just still love them. And I found if you just love everybody, everything always works out. But when you don't love somebody and you're mean to them, then you got to go find five more. And so I had to learn that all the hard way. And so you guys said that a lot of us were in Las Vegas. Every time I go to the event, every time everybody goes to the event, they say that's the best one I've ever been to. But what I want to say on this one, every one of them has been awesome. But this has been the best messaging function that I've ever been to. It seems like to me that they covered the entire company. They covered the opportunity, they covered the system, they covered the principles and behaviors, they covered the product, and they left everybody in that audience a pathway to go home and go to work. And then here we are a couple days later, we're sitting on a call with a couple hundred people talking about the principles, behaviors, and there's nothing more that excites me than those circles, you guys. That is what building depth is all about. That's what Marcel Niederhauser learned how to do in Amway over 30 years ago, is to develop relationships, build tap roots, develop leadership, build relationships in the leadership, and stabilize my business in case something crazy ever happens. I've got enough relationships with everybody. And I found that by building tap roots, I can find leaders instead of try to sponsor them and hatch them. Does that make sense? Hey, you guys, go over here. I'm on a phone call. Sorry, I'm with my grandkids. One of my favorite things to do. So I found that it's easier for me to find a leader that's ready to go and help develop them than to sponsor people and try to make them something they're never going to be. And one thing that a lot of us spend a lot of time doing, trying to get somebody to do something they don't want to do. And so one thing I realized early on in my career, the average person back in the 1900s, when I started years and years ago, that's supposed to be funny, is we didn't have social media. We didn't have any internet, nothing. The average person knew 500 people by their first name is what the statistics were back then. So I'm sure now it's increased. And with social media, it's probably off the roof. But every single person, if they knew 500 people by their first name, if I ever felt like I was running out of names, I just went and found five more people. That's 2,500 new names. Is that right? Did I do the math right? So I just went and created brand new names list, and then I helped those people. That's another thing. I didn't turn my business. You've heard the word tonight, stay in control of your business. I didn't turn my business over to somebody that was just getting started. Because most of us, when we start like me, most of the things about this business were very uncomfortable. Like contacting people, doing meetings in front of people. If I did one-on-ones, I was okay. If I did one-on-two, I was paralyzed. Like I went through all of that. And I'm just so grateful that I was taught correctly in the very beginning. Somebody grabbed my hand and went and did it for me, helped me, did the questions. And here's what was great. First 4 or 5 meetings, I kept my mouth shut. I was so damn scared, I didn't even want to say anything. And then all of a sudden, in the 5th meeting, I started interrupting the guy. And instead of him biting my head off after and saying, I'm the upline, don't talk when I'm talking, he goes, holy crap, dude, you're getting good at this. You could probably do your own presentation. And every step of the way, he did it until I could actually do a full presentation. So why do I tell you that? Because some people misunderstand network marketing. They misunderstand line of sponsorship. They misunderstand this is a partnership between me at the top and you at the very bottom. There's no hierarchy. I mean, there's respect for what we've done, but we're all equal. And there's none of this, oh, you got to edify me and you can't talk or whatever people do. I was taught right, and that's what I try to teach. I am excited when somebody interrupts me. I think that's the greatest thing in the world because now all of a sudden I got less work to do. And I'd let him interrupt me a little bit more where he's doing the whole meeting. Then I just move on to the next guy. I hope that makes sense. So those are the little nuggets I learned along the way. And it took me 12 freaking years to do what the EC ones in this company are doing right now. And that's making about $11,000 to $12,000 a month. That was enough money for me to sell my business. I owned and operated for 18 years, but that was a long time. 12 years is a long time. 45 is even longer. And 45 years working for somebody else to retire on 45% of what you couldn't live on in the first place is torture. And I beat the 45-year plan by 30, 20, 25 years or 30 years, if I do my math right. And so my question in that is 8 months to sponsor my first person, 4 months later qualifying to direct distributor. So think about that. 8 months to sponsor my first one, 4 months later qualifying for my as a direct distributor in Amway. What did that mean? It took me that freaking long to figure things out. But once I was able to sponsor somebody and help that person sponsor somebody, I became an animal because if I could do something, I can do it over and over and over and over. And that's all I did. That's why we do 15 or more presentations a month because we're going through the numbers to find the people that want to build this business. You guys, I'm still I haven't slept. I was in Europe. I flew right home, went to the convention. My phone's been blown up. Everybody's freaking out. Everybody's excited. I am on cloud nine. I don't have any, like, I'm dead to the world. I'm brain dead, but yet I can't shut up. Can you guys tell I'm very excited? I have talked to so many people, so many people have made so many commitments. And this energy is just like what it was in the very beginning when we started. And I know what's in store for all of you that take advantage of this. I know what's in store for those of you guys that plug into this system. I've seen every one of these leaders that speak to you every time we do one of these calls or in person. I'd say 98% of them, I was in a living room when they first got in the business. And if not, I met them just right after they got in, before they were nothing as far as rank goes. And all of them, they had something in common. They had a why, they had a reason, and then they had something else in common. They were willing to go through all the ups and downs and all the negativity or all the growth is what I call it, the personal growth, to get to where they are today. And we're extending that gift to you guys. We're meeting a lot of you guys for the first time on this call. What do you think is going to happen a couple of years from now for those of you that stick it out? You're going to be the new EC1s and the new EC2s and the new EC3s. And these leaders that are talking to you all going to be presidentials. Like, that's how this thing works. And I am honored to be part of this. I am honored to be working with these guys to help you and help you guys build your business. I'm so grateful for all the people that are plugging in. I'm so grateful for all the other elites that are checking this out. I know that with all of us together, we're going to be able to put LifeVantage in a very good spot. And that is 500 million, 800 million, 1 billion, and so on and so forth. And together we can make it happen. Singly or off on our own little tangents, it doesn't work so well. I mean, we might get little bits in growth, but I'm just telling you. And the company, to me, has set up a very amazing pathway for success by adopting a message that grows billion-dollar companies. I hope you guys understand what I said. They finally adopted a message that grows billion-dollar companies. And guess what? They didn't have to take any other messages out. We love the product. We love the opportunity. We love LifeVantage. We love leadership. We love break advancement. Nothing's changed. We just added one more little element to the conversation, and that's principles and behaviors. I ask people all the time when I'm teaching them, if you made a decision that you want to sell out to this business, what one of those principles and behaviors would you struggle doing? Like, how hard would that really be if you made a commitment to do them? Is it possible for everybody on this call to show 15 or more presentations a month? Is it possible? here's probably a tough one. Is it possible for everybody on this call to always do what they say they're going to do? Can we do that? Can we all get better and how to promote? Is there anybody on here that feels like they don't know how to promote something? Because I will beg to differ, because all of you in your life has promoted something to somebody. If you got kids, you've promoted your things, your kids or husbands, whatever. And then what we do with this call and what we do with this event is we teach you how to stay in control. Dave's example of his circles is 8 years of his life in this company, and it stems back laying out every meeting, every mile traveled, every bit of gas burned in his tank, all the food he spent, all the hotels he stayed in, all the people he has helped. That's what he just demonstrated to you guys today. And you just got a glimpse of it because he did it in a few minutes. Wait till we're sitting in St. George and he goes through and he dives through and explains to you every single little element took to find this leader that got in 3 or 4 years later than when he did. And I was on a call today with this awesome couple, and I see that they're on the call here tonight, Hannah and Bryce. And I want you guys to know something. I asked him, how old are you? And he told me I'm 30, I think 33 or 34. And I said, well, I'm 63. So if you subtract your age from mine, how old was you when I got, how old was I how old was I when you just were born? And I just started my network marketing career, you guys. So here's a question I asked him. Do you think when I started over 30 years ago and I signed up, I said, you know what? I cannot wait for when I'm 63 years old. I'm going to meet Hannah and Bryce. I've met them a couple times, but I met them in Mexico. I'm going to meet those guys in the future. Do you think I planned on that? Do you think I had any idea what was going to happen to me moving forward? And when I made that decision so many years ago to build this business, do you know how many lives Tyler and I and just ourselves for making the decision to build this business that we've affected? And so the reason why I say that is I want to put things into perspective. All of you guys have this beautiful gift and knowledge of this company. And all of you, or most of you, have a freaking amazing experience from using the product. You have knowledge, you have experience. All the other people out there that don't know anything about this, the only way they're going to hear about this is if you share it. So my question is, if you've had a positive experience with this product, don't you feel you're a little bit obligated to tell the people you love and care about? What I find a lot is people want to sit behind social media to build their names because they're afraid to talk to the people that they love and care about because they're so worried about what they think about them. And I'm sitting here thinking, so your life just transformed. You got good health now, and you don't want to tell those people because you're worried about what they're going to think. Am I making sense? Like, we got so many people on this call. I know I'm relating to somebody. You guys, we got to knock it off and we got to get out there and start. Let me ask you this. Do you think for 1 minute I believe this thing works? Do you guys think that? Yeah, I know it works. I believe in it. I believe in network marketing. You know what it's done for my life? Do you know what doing work once and getting paid the rest of my life has done? The most important thing, full-time dad. Lisa and I have raised our kids since I was 40 years old. My 2 little girls have never known me to have a job. I've been involved in their life. My wife, I've been a full-time husband. I pack bags, I do dishes, I make beds, I do everything, right? Because I don't have to get up in the work. I don't have to get up in the morning and go to work, and I don't have to come home all tired. You guys follow what I'm saying? I'm on one tonight, and I'm sorry if I'm rattling on too much. I just want you guys to know everything you're going to sacrifice over the next 2 to 5 years is worth it. Everything you're going to put on hold is worth it. Now, will all of you do that? I hope so, but probably not. But those of you that will, we're going to lock arms. We're going to lock arms with these leaders, and we're going to make your life, we're going to help you create a lifestyle of choices like we have. And our first goal is to get all these leaders to the next level and all of you guys on that stage as an EC1. We need the help. We need the training. We got a very powerful program called LVAs. I'm telling you right now, you guys make a commitment to attend them, even if you have to travel a little ways. And here's the thing, if you don't, I have no idea where you're going to get the education. This is not being taught. You can join Change of the Month Club newscast and just do something different every month, or you can start plugging into everything we're making available so that we can help you grow your business. Because I spent 13 years in college. I got an engineering degree. I mean, everything. I'd never been taught network marketing. I never taught how to be a business owner. I mean, I know they teach that stuff now and they teach mentorship, but I've never been taught that stuff. And so if it's not being taught anywhere, you don't go to Eric Worre or Bob Jenkins or George Bush or whoever the frick's doing something else and try to get them to teach you. You grab a hold of the people in this company that know what they're doing and learn how to build a network marketing business within the network marketing business. I hope that makes sense. I'm sorry. It just blows my mind how people will look everywhere else but within to try to figure out how to build this business when all the proof and everything else is on the table. So let me see this. Put a one down in the chat. If all of you that are ready to lock arms with all of us and all of you elites that are coming on board, ready to take this thing to the next level, and we'll blow building depth out of the roof. We'll blow all of LifeVantage's functions, and we're gonna let's have this next function for LifeVantage be a 5,000 person function. Let's have building depth. Let's make it so we can't even fit in the room, and then let's get the LVAs, and we're opening up new ones in different areas. And I mean, we got all kinds of stuff going on, and so all you got to do is plug in and make the commitment. Show us that you want this, and let's do it. So put a one down in the chat if you're ready to lock arms and make this thing happen, and you're ready to make those commitments and start living those principles, behaviors, just like you eat food every day and breathe oxygen. How's that? Nobody's gonna like me wound up. I'm telling
Woo!
you. It's time to go. Love you guys. We're gonna close this thing out tonight. We're open for whatever. So if you got questions or you don't quite understand, I'm going to tell you right now, we got a young lady on this call. Her name's Mikey Dorelli. She's going to put her phone number down in the chat. That's for any elites that are wanting to learn about an LVA or get the information. That's where you get the information. Don't call any of us. I mean, you can, and we'll just direct you to Mikey. But she's going to give you all of the details, everything that you have to do to qualify, and then it's a one-stop shop. But she's been working us for the last 16 years, and she's amazing, and she's there to help you. So anyway, sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to give your number out to everybody, but I think they're excited. What do you guys think?
I'm excited too. Thank you, Marcel.
Okay, love you guys. Willie, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much, Marcel. Woo, pure fire. You guys, we have one other presidential. I would love to hear. How many of you just would love to hear a few words from Blue? His closing was like insane, one of the best. And really, I just wanted he said, sure, I will hop on and say a few words. So just want to give him the stage just for another minute, and then we'll wrap this call. Go ahead, Blue. Are you there?
Yeah, Sarah, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Yeah, normally you guys, we have one of the presidentials, Marcel or I will take a few seconds and just echo what's going on and edify and just add our thoughts. And Marcel did a great job, and we just both happened to be on, and Sarah sent me a quick text. I said, absolutely. There's something a little bit special maybe just this week. We'll continue to follow that in the future, but I think for today, it's such a pivotal time for it's unique to have things we've been teaching on this call consistently year after year after year, just to be center stage and front stage and said from stage and breakout sessions. And what I'm excited about is we know it works. We know that those principle-based leadership principles allows everyone to be themselves. It allows you to show up with your own personality, your own background, your own history, and to just follow a set of principles. Now, there's skills that go with it, and that's what these calls will continue to teach and what we teach at our Building Depth events, because just to tell someone to go do 15 presentations, there's a lot of little things that we need to get good at to make sure that takes place. If we don't have a good database, it's not going to happen. If we don't have a good invite, that doesn't take place. If we don't enroll some people to help schedule and set up those presentations, that we can go do the presentation in their homes, people just keep trying and they fall short. So we have a set of skills that will help you to continue to follow the principles. Now, if people just go out and do it, they'll figure it out. That's what a lot of us did. We just started going and doing it. But our goal is to hopefully have learned from all of those things. And if we can shorten the amount of time it takes someone to get from point A to point B, just because we can draw a straighter line. Too bad in the past, I think we've all went down this squiggly line and made mistakes, and we've done so many things well, but we've also tried and did other things that didn't work in the past, or maybe even other companies. And we have the results. We know where it heads. We've had teams or groups try something and buy in a different package or try a starter kit only or whatever thought that you might have in your head. Run past some of these leaders because we've been down those roads. We can give you some help, some warning, some guidance. And we have found that if someone will check the principal boxes off consistently, they will put themselves in the right position to learn everything they need to learn. And some of those are events you'll learn. The energy you bring home from events is part of that. Following through on commitments gives you a character that people can follow. I mean, every one of those principles isn't just itself a checkbox. It leads to the other things you need to be truly successful in this business. And there's a lot. I mean, it's a step-by-step process. Something I shared this weekend was the broken plates, right? You see a guy standing on stage, and sometimes we see people on this call and they look like they have it all together, and they do in some cases. But I can attest with Marcel that we've sat in rooms when that individual for the first time sat with their arms folded, trying to figure out what we're doing, right? And to my point was they asked, what if it doesn't work? And what if this? And what if that? And at some point they said, well, somebody tapped them on the shoulder and said, well, what if it does? We have people that made it work. We have proof that it works. We have leaders, and all of you guys that it works. We have time. Leaders, and all of you guys take your time. A lot of you have taken your the time to share tonight and prove that the system works. And so if we can go back to those individuals and just say, yeah, we said the what if question as well, but we took it optimistically. We ran with it and we turned it into something that we can look back on and be proud of. And in some cases, it bailed us out of some extreme circumstances for our family. A car accident and waking up and find out my daughters were paralyzed, my wife lost her leg. I mean, you can imagine some of the financial toll that took, but to be able to have that checkbox not be part of the hard part of that equation, that was actually the easiest part of that equation was a miracle in itself. We were able to focus on the things that are important. So principle-based leadership, keep coming, keep showing up. It's so good to see so many top leaders on this call. I was just looking at the Hollywood Squares and see the Campbells on tonight. I see a bunch of people that I love to death. I'm excited. Their leadership will continue to shine too. And then all you leaders that shared tonight, it's awesome. Thank you guys for taking the time and to show your path and to be a little vulnerable and to show the time frames it took for things to unfold and happen, the little miracles along the way, the finding the right people, the travel and the one meeting you didn't know if it mounted to anything and it turned into the one sign up that became the next person that's on this call doing the coaching years later. A lot of people that I talked to, you personally, for the first time, have now become one of my mentors. And I think that is amazing what this industry has to offer in the area of personal growth and development. So we love you guys. We'll wrap up. I know we're just a few minutes here, but I just want you guys to know that this format works. Continue to plug your people in. Let us help you help them. We each don't relate to everyone. Individually, we don't relate to everyone that comes to us. As a team, we do a pretty good job. I don't think too many people can get on this call and not find someone that they relate with. We have so many people from different backgrounds. We've all taken it here. We've had success. And we validated that the system works. We validated that the industry works. We validated that the company works, the products work. And when you have belief in those 4 areas, then it creates movement. And I think we have helped push that belief this last weekend. I think you can feel it. Let's run and let's make sure this is something. If we do it right, our great grandkids will be thanking us, and I really mean that. So I'll turn it back to you, Sarah. Thanks for the few minutes, Marcel. Thanks for sharing tonight. For everyone else that taught tonight, and we'll continue to jump on these calls and just make sure that you know that our hearts are in it and wrapped in it. And if we can offer advice or tips or tricks or some best practices, and again, if we can help anyone on this call shorten their distance from A to B, it is yours. It's one of the few industries where you offer every trick you can to help people to do that. There's no reason for us to hold it as a secret or hold it back. because it benefits all of us when you guys have success. And I think that's what's cool about the mentoring program here. So, Sarah, back to you. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. What a stacked call tonight, you guys. So make sure, like, get registered for the next event. What is the next event? It's going to be the Life Vantage Academies. It's going to be in the backyard. It's going to be the LVAs coming up and Building Depth in June 12th and 13th. So, you guys, buildingdepth.com for all the events, corporate down to everything you can plug into. So we appreciate you showing up for yourself, showing up with your teams. Make it a great week, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, everyone.